The reason I think that you see the recent increase in administrator salaries, and I can't speak to other districts, I can speak to our district, is because for years, those salaries remained frozen, static, okay? Why? So, because the board made decisions that they had to put the money that they had available into teachers, who by contract were guaranteed steps and lanes. And once again, when Madison sent Act 10 our way, all that changed, okay? So, it's, and to a point, I don't know if it was Crystal or Tina, I can honestly not recall any teacher who's left this district to go someplace else to teach for less money, okay? And we interview all those teachers. We'd sit down and talk to every one of them, okay? To see why they're going. And 99% of them, the root cause is because these guys are paying me $10,000 more, $8,000 more, that we can't afford, okay? The average teacher's starting salary in the southeastern zone in Wisconsin has increased by probably $7,000 to $8,000 within the last 4 years. Our starting salary used to be about $35,000. We're now up in the 40s. I hear Franklin has got another increase on the horizon because they're having the same problem we are. Keeping teachers and paying them less money than other districts are. Go ahead.
Can you repeat it, please?
Sure. According to the DPI website, administrative salaries as a group have increased by over 10% since Act 10, while teacher salaries as a group have decreased by 8%. What is your belief to why this has happened?
I can't really speak to it because I'm not all that familiar with what their salaries are. All I can do is relate it to maybe the private sector from where I normally work. And it being a management decisions and things like that, seeing, valuing one group over the other, maybe thinking that this group does more and so they deserve a little bit more, or vice versa. But I really honestly can't say because I'm not familiar with it.
Okay. Next question, Scott is first. What value do you place upon staff who have worked for the district for 10 to 15 years? Are these employees worth keeping? How is that communicated to them?
I believe that all the staff we have are worth keeping, or else we wouldn't hire them in the first place, okay? And I don't care if they've been here 10, 15 years, 20 years, 5 years, 2 years, 1 year. If we hired them, we saw something there that we thought it was going to be an asset to our district, so we made that. It's just like the private sector. I work in the private sector every day. That's what I do. I hire and fire people all day long, okay? So I understand the dynamics that are involved there, okay? But the longevity is great because, as Crystal alluded to before, it gives you familiarness with the district, with the city, with the families. But I'm old school, okay? Back when I first got involved in the school board, teachers had to live in Cudahy, okay? Firemen had to live in Cudahy. Policemen had to live in Cudahy. DPW guys had to live in Cudahy, okay? That doesn't happen anymore. Why? Every elected position I've been in, I've fought tooth and nail to bring residency back to that community. I've always been of the opinion, if you're making your money here, then you should be spending your money here, okay? So it's important, and I think teachers, all those professionals that I mentioned, they bring the standard of the community up. So why wouldn't you want to have those people live in the community? I know I'm singular in this viewpoint from many other people. They've resigned themselves to that. But till I'm done, I'll firmly believe that when we gave up residency, we pretty much sold ourselves down a river.
Okay, so they want to know whether more people 10 or more years.
What value do you place upon staff who have worked for the district for 10 to 15 years? Are these employees worth keeping, and how is that communicated to them?
I don't know how it's communicated, but I would think if they are still productive and they're engaged in their work, then definitely they're worth keeping in the district. You know, if they're enjoying their work and they're, just like with any job, if you have a productive employee who enjoys their work and adds value to the position, then there's no reason not to keep them. Like I said, I don't know how and if it's being communicated to them. Thank you.
Well, I think I already told you why I think it's important to keep teachers in the community that have been here for a while. It establishes that culture. I think there's a level of expertise that comes from teaching in your subject area, whereas when you're a new teacher, you have all these new ideas, and then you see them crash and burn in the classroom, and you're like, oh, I'm not doing that again. Well, when you've been doing it for 15 years, you had a lot crash, and you've refined a year's worth of stuff pretty well by then. So you're getting a higher quality of instruction day to day, in my opinion, from somebody who has been doing that or teaching in a content area for a long time. They've just had such time to refine their craft. So I think they're very valuable in addition to the culture piece. Your residency thing, I wasn't required to come to Cudahy, but when I started teaching here, I wanted to because I thought it was a great community. How's that being communicated though, their value? Well, I know that the district is doing different things like appreciations, like there's Teacher Appreciation Week and stuff like that. You know, maybe we're not being loud enough, and maybe that's why we have so many people resigning, and maybe we need to seek out more input of how teachers want to be shown that they're respected, you know, and that they're appreciated. And I sincerely regret anybody who doesn't feel that they're valued.
Tina, you start with this one.
Okay.
How will you improve upon the current staffing environment to help build morale between teachers and administration, knowing that there has been a history of intimidation tactics, among other things?
Well, I don't know that the school board really gets to do much on that aspect of it. So again, not being on the board, not having a lot of background in that area, I can't really say. So I guess as an individual, I would, want to be able to talk to teachers and just make sure that they know that they're being appreciated and that I appreciate what they brought to the classroom or the school or those kinds of things. But I don't know that I can really speak to the question. Tell me it again. Do I have time?
You have a minute 20.
Like, what do you think you could do on the board to include, like, to improve the morale? I don't know if that means policies or making sure things are happening. I mean, the morale's pretty low between teachers and administration right now.
Well, I'd like to see more teachers at the school board meetings, and I'd like them to start presenting to the school board when they have things they'd like to do, whether it's the new book or the science curriculums or anything like that. I'd like to hear from the teacher when they want those kinds of things brought to the board, and so that we can ask them questions and they feel more a part of the process of it, opposed to just it being submitted and we say yay or nay kind of thing.
I like your idea, and we do have teachers come and present different things that they do in their classroom to the board. But to be honest, teachers aren't really in a position of power when they come and speak to the board. They're employees of the board. So if they come and say, I don't like what this is, what's happening here, does that put them in jeopardy? Is that something that would be appreciated by those that manage them? I doubt it. Like, think about what if you went to your boss's boss and went and complained about your boss or whatever, that wouldn't necessarily be received well. So I think that what's important is we have a mechanism in place. There is a union in Cudahy, there's a teachers union, and I think that it's important that we work with mutual respect with that group that is chosen to represent that teacher group, and that we listen to the concerns that they bring forward, and we work to address those concerns. Because who better to tell us, like you're saying, than the teachers themselves what they are feeling low morale about, without having one individual stand up and say, I don't like this. They have representatives for a reason.
Can you read me that question again, verbatim?
How will you improve upon the current staffing environment to help build morale between teachers and administration, knowing that there has been a history of intimidation tactics?
Okay, thank you. To speak to a history of intimidation tactics, and those of you weak of heart, cover your ears, is crap, okay? If you're intimidated or you're feeling intimidated, there are so many avenues you can go to, EEOC, etc. If I see a case where an administrator is being intentionally abusive to an employee or intimidating to an employee, our job as a board is to show that administrator the door, okay? We try to foster a work environment that not only conducive to our employees, the teachers, the maintenance staff, all the employees that we have, okay? But we also try to make that environment more friendly in areas of morale. We try to do different things to increase what teachers bring to the board. We go to every school every year, okay? Every year, our meeting schedule takes us to one school in the district for an evening for our meetings, okay? While we're at that school, the principal brings forward an idea or a project that that particular school is working on. They give us a presentation regarding that project, and we're able to see how it's being implemented, the effect it has on students, and whether or not in the long run we think it's going to work, okay? But again, we rely on our administrators to advise us as far as what's working, what's not working, if there's issues, what the issues are, because with the exception of Crystal, we're not education professionals, okay? I'm not a professional educator. I don't have those answers. I mean, I listened to Crystal talk about PBIS the other day, and I'm just amazed that that's great that we have that on the board, okay? But as far as intimidation tactics, it better not be happening in this district. I've been a district president now for 6 years, and no one's ever come to me and said, this administrator is intimidating me. Sorry.
Okay, next question. Crystal starts with this one. And you touched on it a little bit with the exit interviews. Does the Board of Education get to look at the raw exit surveys that former teachers have completed? If so, what do these say about the workplace climate in the school district of Cudahy?
My experience has been that we do not, in fact, see those exit interviews. I think that there is a good reason to have those be like anonymous in a way. Like, I don't think that it's good for us to necessarily know who said what exactly, but I do think that we need to hear the message of what it is that would have motivated somebody to stay if there was something that they were not happy with in the district. But I think it's also valuable to hear what they did value while they were working in the district and to continue to implement that. in part of the exit interviews that we're doing, Dr. Hayden has asked that we can do state interviews and include that data as well, which is interviewing people who are actually staying in the district and seeing what is it that is keeping them here, what is it they like. And if I'm wrong, Dr. Hayden, make sure you correct me. But I think that's important. We need to see the entire spectrum so that we can inform our practice, and when I say our, I mean our administrative practices, because we need to have that feedback. Any professional needs to be able to grow, and if you don't get honest feedback on what's happening, you do not know what to change. And so I think that's really important, but no, we don't get raw data at this time. And like I said, I'm anxiously awaiting that report as it is.